Welcome back to another tennis tip Tuesday. I've got a couple of questions from Jonathan Sedgemore. First one was, did he feel there was any merit in teaching a topspin serve for first and second serve? And I think he was talking about the top of the game. Unfortunately, Jonathan, I don't think there's much merit in that because the players are hitting so aggressively on return now that I think even if there was a bit of variation in it, it would get munched. What I would recommend is maybe mixing up the serves a little bit more in terms of sliding it versus kicking it flat then kick. I think variety is not used enough on serve, but I think that's pretty much my opinion on that first one. I think if you're kicking first and second serve, I think you mentioned Rafter as the example, and if you think back even further, Edberg back in the day, they get away with it because the returns weren't so aggressive then, but I think now the players would just get munched. But the second thing you asked about was a little bit more information on goal setting. I'm not going to go too much into it just now, I might unpack it in future videos, but you mentioned about short, medium and long term. I tend not to use those words when I do goal setting with players. What I talk about is process, performance and outcome. So I think most people are comfortable with outcome goals, and what I would normally do is set them for maybe an end of year and normally attach them to rankings for players or maybe significant achievements making X round of whatever tournament. But most of the time I tend to just use them as kind of by the end of the year, roughly where do you want to be, make it exciting, make it feel like it's aspirational, and then therefore they want to put the work in to achieve that. The key area that I do most of my work in is actually around performance and then relating it back to process. So performance goals are normally tactically driven from the match court. So it would be things like achieving a certain percentage on a certain tactical area. So let's say, for example, you might say, I want to be attacking 60% of the time on second serve on the ad court. So the second serve return, yeah. So that therefore gives them some sort of big trigger in their head about any time that situation arises, they're really focused, and then you link into process goals from there. Now, the goals in terms of process are not necessarily something that you might measure them. You have to be pretty studious to measure them in your match charts, but most importantly, it hooks back into what the player is thinking at that particular time. So let's imagine my goal is I want to attack 60% of returns on the second serve returns on the ad court. Anytime there's a serve missed on that, a first serve missed on that ad court, I will then be buzzed up. I'll be focused on trying to hook into that process. Now the process may be that I use my legs to really rotate into the ball or attack the ball. So it might be that I am about to face your second serve and in my head I am thinking legs, and it could be as simple as that. So hooking from the performance back into the process is really, really important. It then gives the player something to evaluate either as they go along. How well am I doing on this second serve return? Am I using my legs? And of course they could note those down in a journal for their match bag and refer to them as the match goes on, as players are becoming more and more commonly doing that. So that would be probably about as much information as I would do on a typical video like this for goal setting. Have your outcome goals, of course, but most importantly, the players need to have some sort of performance goals for the match court, and then they are thinking about the processes that they need to do to execute those performance goals. As time then goes on, you can evolve and evaluate and kind of reset your targets for those the match court performance goals. So hopefully, Jonathan, hopefully you got your answers or some of the answers that you would like from that. But if you didn't, write down below what more you would like to see, and if you have a question, please subscribe to the channel, get your questions in, and every week I will do these videos specifically for you, and if there is the demand, then I will do them more and more often. Until then, see you later.